In this video, I'm going to talk about the most common fears that artists have with tips on how to overcome each one of them. First one, the fear of failure. If you've ever felt worried that your artwork will be rejected or criticized, you're not the only one. I think we all go through this, especially when we're feeling down. But the important thing that you must remember is that art is subjective. So as long as you feel that you've done what you wanted to do creatively and you let out your emotions or visualized a message that you wanted to give, then that's the important thing. And there's always going to be people that is going to be interested in your art. So do not attach the subjective vision that others have of your art with your self-worth. The second fear is the fear of the unknown. So if you've ever felt anxious about trying new techniques and experimenting with unfamiliar materials, that usually leads to a fear of the unknown and uncertainty about the outcome. So for example, when I bought myself the iPad and I started trying brushes on Procreate, it sucked and it felt so frustrating because of the vast amount of possibilities, but I didn't know how to do any of them. I felt very uncomfortable drawing digitally and it led to a lot of frustration, which took months to get rid of. So if you feel the same right now, one of the things that you can do is sticking to one or two brushes. So try to make an illustration just with one or two brushes. I personally still only use the 6B pencil and the Bonobo chalk brush on Procreate. So with only these two brushes, I do all of my illustrations. The third fear is the fear of comparison. So if you've ever compared your work to others and felt insecure about your skill level or your artistic style, just know that it happens to me every day, and I think we all have moments like this. What I've realized is that I have this limiting belief that I'm not enough. So I'm going to focus on all of the people that I feel is having more success or growing faster on Instagram or getting dream projects. What I try to remind myself, and that can help you too, is that you can only compare to your past self because everyone is different and everyone has their own story. So embrace the uniqueness of your strokes. Think about what is most special about your art and how you can improve it. Or maybe it's not the art itself, it's just that you have to improve how to showcase it. So for example, making reels about the behind the scenes process, which is sadly what people like most now. I feel like nowadays people in general prefer to see the actual process of making the illustration rather than the final product. And clients also ask for that. So also, if you ever film the behind the scenes for a client, it's so important that you also charge it because it's a lot of work. And sometimes if you're an illustrator, you don't really enjoy editing and making videos. So you can charge it more even if that is an inconvenience for you. Last year, I personally felt so stuck. I was against making videos and I only enjoyed and wanted to post the finished illustrations. But I realized that people really enjoy seeing those. And I enjoy myself seeing other artists creating their pieces too. So I made an effort to try and embrace the filmmaking and editing process. The fourth fear is the fear of creativity block. So if you've ever felt worried about not getting inspired on time when you have to deliver illustrations for a client, or you want to make content on Instagram, here's a few tips that can help you. So if you're feeling very blocked, go out of your house, go out in nature, and even though you're feeling like you're not being productive at all, it's the most productive thing that you could do. At least that's what's happened in my experience. Because the fact of going out, either alone or with people, took my negativity away and gave me space to let go of all the frustration that I felt with a creative block. Remember that creativity comes when your mind is at ease, when you're bored, or when you're seeing things that inspire you. If you've gone out and you're still trying to find some ideas to draw, another thing that you can do is to participate in a Draw It in Your Style challenge, which I suppose you might have seen or even hosted. These creative challenges where you redo an illustration of another artist but in your style. Another thing that really inspires me is going to museums, or if I'm at home, I look on Pinterest. So for example, if I want to draw a jungle, I'm gonna look for aesthetic jungle pictures, illustrations, animals, leaves, and I'll create a board with all this inspiration. What usually happens is that I unconsciously take those images and make my own mix in my head, and a sketch comes magically. But I have to say, if you're still not on the mood for getting creative, you can do all the rest of the work that doesn't involve being creative. So for example, you can plan your social media content, think about your weekly goals, educate yourself with something that you want to learn, contact clients, make invoices or taxes, or clean your room. You can also talk to other artists about it. I feel like it's a massive support to have creative friends. And if you don't know anyone in person, you can make online artist friends, which is really helpful and enriching. The fifth fear is the fear of success. So for example, when you get a proposal from a very important client and it's kind of your dream project, but you're feeling very scared, sometimes it's because you feel that you don't deserve it. So it's really powerful to ask yourself, why am I feeling that way? Why am I feeling that I don't deserve it? And you can make a list with all the reasons why you should deserve it. That's going to help you to try to change the mindset and be more relaxed about giving them a quote, getting the project and delivering. And just remember that we constantly change. We have the power to get better, not only with our skills, but also mentally. And if it doesn't work out and at the end they pick someone else for the project, which has happened to me multiple times, just know that it's okay. And whenever I felt down because I didn't get a project that I thought I would get, what has been most helpful is to try to analyze that situation and see what I could have done better. Because maybe it was not the art itself, it was that I was extremely scared during the business call. And at the end of the day, if they see that you're scared, they unconsciously have the feeling that you're not ready for the project. So even if you don't feel like it, try to show yourself as very confident and let them know that you really want this project and you're capable to do it. The sixth fear is the fear of rejection. So if you have the fear that your art is going to be rejected by clients, art galleries, people on social media, and that you're going to have negative feedback, you're not alone. I think all artists feel like that. This feeling of rejection took over me completely and affected me every time I got negative feedback or didn't get picked for the project. But the thing is, it's not as personal as we feel it is, because maybe the client needs something very specific for that project and your art doesn't fully align with it. Or if it's the case that you're working with them and you get asked to do a lot of changes, that doesn't mean that what you've done is not good. It's just that for that project, maybe they need a specific palette or a different kind of composition that works with the product. It can also happen that the commissioner has no clue whatsoever of what they want, and their creative direction is so vague that it's a never-ending project in which both of you feel unsatisfied with. So here's a few tips to try to avoid that. Ask for as many details as possible beforehand and let them know that the biggest changes have to be done during the sketching process, not after coloring. Also, when you work out a quote, include the amount of revisions. So, if more revisions are needed, you're gonna have to charge extra. So I can assure you they are gonna make an effort to try to avoid the extra revisions. And last but not least, the fear of not making enough money. I think we as artists worry about our financial stability, and we often can get worried about not being able to make a living from our work. I still have this fear, but I feel this financial instability that I still have is worth it for me. Because I would be very unhappy working in a 9-to-5 office job, not being able to be creative. And I've decided that if at some point my situation is too unstable, I can find a temporary job and combine both jobs until I'm stable again. So one of the biggest mistakes that I did is that I only relied on freelance projects from clients, which I really enjoy doing, but I never know when I'm gonna get them. So my biggest lesson has been to try to diversify my income streams. So I'm currently working out how to make a passive income or more recurring income to have more financial stability. If you'd like to more know about this topic, let me know in the comments and I'll make a full video on it. I hope all of these tips have been helpful to you, and if you liked it, you can give it a like, comment or subscribe. And in case you haven't seen my first video about pricing art, you can check it out and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.